Alrighty, we're here. We're live. Happy Wednesday to you and yours. I'm here with my new friend, the one and only Mr. Patrick Allen Stone. Get that
Right?
right, people. Get that one right. Private inside joke between us. But he is the man, the myth, the legend, and the lead singer behind the band Butterside. And so, I'm going to go right for the jugular. Let's go right into it because the one question I've always wanted to know since I've seen this name popping up and been checking you out, and then I see the greatest piece of marketing done on a T-shirt, and it's the immaculate question of what the fuck is a butter side?
Exactly. Every interview we get asked the same thing. Because it's I mean it makes you question, definitely makes you question. It's just the name of a really cool rock and roll band, you know? It's just like, your Ragni, that's the name of a really cool host, you know? It's like a name you're born with or something. But all the good names were taken, Sam Bam Colton loves to say. um, but now it's finally starting to like catch on, and with the new t-shirt and the marketing, I think it definitely has something to say for itself. It's kind of grown into its own thing, like asking the question, what does it really mean? Especially the way we spell it. It's our own thing. And, you can't really attribute it to anything other than what we are. And that's just a really cool rock and roll band.
You know what? That's a great answer. I was like really putting a lot of thought into it. And I'm like, is it like a secret meaning in the band about like a nice girl's ass or something? Like do we have like a secret little handshake going on about the butter side? Like,
No, it could be any of that. That's the whole thing. It's like, leave it up to interpretation. And it's funny to see how many people try to make fun of us for it. You know what I mean? When it's like that you just fell for it. You know what I mean? You just fell for it by doing that. You just fell for the joke. The joke's on you. You know what I mean? We're not ignorant to the fact that it's an obscure name. It's not some kind of like, super cliche thing that just makes sense. Oh, cool name. And then you hate the
right.
band. It's like, if you can get through the name and listen to the music and we get you, then you're going to understand what Butterside really is.
You know what the cool thing is though about the band too, the name about the band. Um, doing these interviews, especially, you come across a lot of indie bands and stuff like that. And I'm just going to say maybe they have like common words as the name. Could be like sneaker or toilet or something like that. And when you go to like Google, you're going to find 18 million Nikes and New Balance and Adidas and stuff like that. You're not going to find nothing on the band.
Exactly.
So with Butterside, you're right to the top of the search list.
Yeah,
No
it's the
questions
only thing
asked.
out there crazy enough to call itself that. Yeah, it was interesting because again, it's because I'm crazy. But every great idea I've ever had that's ever become something that's wonderful has been something that, at least a dozen people tell me, you're fucking nuts. That's crazy. You're never gonna pull this off. So when I hear that, it's kind of like oh yeah, it gets me fired up to like really push it through. So with the name, it was funny because I'm finding myself, applying for patents and copyrights and shit like that. It's like for this freaking crazy ass name. And it's just like, it's just a belief, it's a faith. You know what I mean? And it's like you strike something, and then we've tried so many times. I mean, I could show you lists on my phone of like us trying to rename the thing, especially when we kind of revamped the entire lineup and everything else. Like we had this opportunity to like really change the whole thing,
Okay.
and we couldn't, as strangely as it sounds, we couldn't find a name that was better than that. And now it's cool with all of the new, we got like a new font that really works, and it's kind of haunting and it's demonic, and it's like all of the stuff coming out is really kind of like horror oriented. Like we've really found this dark path to take on because the lyrics are just so honest. You know what I mean? We're all struggling with so many things that, I feel like the name is finally taking on its own identity, and I love that, especially with the new T-shirts. I mean, those they're selling like hotcakes. I just love how our friend Dylan Melody, this kid that did the suit for me in the most recent video, I bought a couple different suits, and then he went and cut them all into pieces and then put them back together like Frankenstein. And
Nice.
he actually had the idea finally of making it a T-shirt, and then he just drew this thing up, and I get a text message, and I'm just like, there it is. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. What the fuck does Butterside mean? you know
That's
One girl said,
awesome.
is the answer to the question on the back?" I said, "Yes, it is. Back of the t-shirt, blank."
I mean, seriously though. I mean that the shirt alone. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, that's just brilliant freaking marketing.
Yeah, it kind of yeah, and still people were chiming in with comments about like still trying to be a smartass, and it's like you're just punking yourself, Like if you don't like us, then it's cool, you can move on. And if you're hung up on a name, I mean, how many supermodels have the craziest names in the world? Doesn't make them any less hot.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is so true.
yeah,
All right, speaking of weird names, like uh, I come across this video that was, I guess, from actually only a couple weeks ago. Doing a search on YouTube, looking for some live stuff and stuff with you and all, and I come across this Yoyaka.
who?
Yoyaka?
Oh, the drummer.
Yes.
Oh, she's amazing. Yes.
I was like, wait, what is this? And you're belting out Over the Mountain, the Ozzy classic, and then doing your guys' song Ghost Lighting. So what was this, like some YouTube kid sensation?
Yeah, yeah, she's phenomenal. She plays those things like just like all the drummers from Ozzy did, or I mean anything she touches, she does brilliantly. I mean, we are huge fans of hers. We have one local friend that was a Butterside fan and kind of is fan. Like I think she's close to the family. So when Yoyoko was coming over from Japan to visit, she said it would be really cool for us to get together with her and do some jamming. So we literally got together that afternoon, and like maybe I don't even think we ran through the songs. We literally pressed record and ran a couple things, and then there it was. She's just that quick. If you follow her on Instagram, she's just, I mean, every day there's just something that blows your mind. She sings, she plays bass, she does it
Really?
all. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, how do these kids do? Like, I'm sitting. First off, I'm still trying to get over the whole School of Rock thing that came out, 20 years ago. That I'm
Yeah.
still upset and jealous about that I didn't have when I was a kid. And now, like, I see these kids just killing it on
Yeah.
social media, and I'm just like, why would I even bother picking up a guitar at 50 years old?
I mean, it's the life. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're untouchable, to be honest. And if they, I mean, a little bit of life experience, and those musicians are going to be contenders. You know what I mean? As soon as they got something to say. But it feels like they've, I mean, again, yeah, I can't wrap my head around it either. But at her age, I think I had just written my first song, and wow. I think I knew a few chords, but that she's mastered the drums, and she's actually mastered the bass too. I can't recall if I've seen any guitar playing that she's done, but to have mastered your instrument by that time is definitely commendable. I mean, hats off.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, and we're stoked that we get to jam with her and see her in concert. And, we're going to go to Japan, and she's going to join us for a few things. There's some TV shows we're going to do over there when we go. So,
oh, sweet.
Yeah, I mean, just super people. The whole family is just amazing and wonderful and so kind. And, it's great.
See, that's the one thing, too, I keep thinking of with kids like her and all these other talented kids across the world. There's going to be a new wave of rock and roll that's really going to blow some people's mind, and that within the next 10 years, I have a feeling.
Well, it's funny because it takes if you think about any band you really love, it was like a 10-year boiling, you had to bring it to a boil, even like the Rolling Stones, they were working so hard before they smashed through. I mean, Guns N' Roses, maybe not so much. They were pretty overnight sensation kind of a thing, but they were in town with other bands trying to get their shit together before they finally got it right with that one. And then all eyes were already on them. But, my point being, there is so much killer new rock and roll, so many great bands that I listen to on a daily now, that that's the new wave. It's already here, There are a few, I mean, I would like to think that we're kind of coming in on that as well, starting to ride that wave. But we are definitely paddling to catch the wave right now, and there's a few leading the pack. I mean, Asking Alexandria is just smashing it.
Yeah.
Lilith Kazar, I think, is just fantastic. So many of our not even they're so many of the bands that we almost forgot about thanks to social media are popping back up again and headlining tours like Black Veil Brides and Papa Roach, and Ice Nine Kills. You know, there's this huge wave of like rock mixed with metal and emo that's got its own kind of place right now, and I think it's really taking on. It's really catching fire, and I think that we're really going to be stoked to be a huge part of that.
I'll tell you what, man, and this is honest to God, this is no bullshit. I'm gonna straight up, like, I've seen the name Butterside for a long time. Okay, for some reason I thought I even saw it longer. Like like I was struggling, like I was going nuts because I could have thought I swore that you guys were involved with Motley Crue when they came back and started their own like label and started signing bands. I could have swore, like, it was driving me nuts, and I'm like, I like searching Google for an hour just alone with Butterside and Motley Crue trying to find something. And here it was Motorhead, but I could have swore
oh my gosh,
there was something with Motley.
On. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Did you get my? Uh-oh. Are you there? Sorry.
I'm here.
You there?
Yep.
Sorry, I've got to. Let me put this on. 1 sec.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I should have done that before. So sorry.
That's all right.
Put on Do Not Disturb. I had a phone call coming in. So sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
You might
hear you.
Shit. You might have to go off and come back.
Go off and come back. Okay.
Yeah. All right. He'll be right back. I hang tight because I gotta say this, and this is a no BS, no bullshit conversation. This happens when people get a phone call when they're doing an interview. It, like, for some reason, knocks them off. But he'll be back in a second, and we'll get him on here, and I'm going to tell him my thoughts and feelings. If he cares, is a whole nother story, But we'll see. It'll be interesting. So, and actually, too, people, everybody watching, you can type in the comments. Ask Patrick a question. Here he comes. He's right back on. How about now?
So sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, it happens when people get phone calls. For some reason, it like cuts out my volume to them.
Actually, I can hear you a lot better now, so I'm super excited
awesome.
about that. But apologies. I thought I put the Do Not Disturb on.
That's all right. So I was like, for some reason, I kept, and I don't even remember who the freaking band is now. I couldn't even find that. But I was thinking Butterside was tied to Motley Crue from 10 years ago. For some reason,
it was actually like 6 years ago. It was Lemmy that signed us, Motorhead Music.
Right. So I didn't even realize that. That was the whole thing I discovered. So, but the whole Butterside thing, for some reason, like, I pushed you guys away because of the name. Because I was just like,
I mean, I've been toying with it for some time, longer than I'd like to actually, admit. But ever since I kind of started writing songs and had like my first list of songs that was over 12 long, as soon as I had about 12 songs, I was like, what am I going to call this? And I started calling it Butterside really early on. Wow. There was actually an incarnation of Butterside that got a spec deal at Interscope Records for a couple songs.
Okay.
With Jimmy Bain from Dio and Simon Wright from AC/DC. And we were like a 3-piece. And we went in and recorded some songs, but man, we were so high and out of control back then. It just didn't. But there's also been lineups with Cordell Crockett from Ugly Kid Joe and some other guys. And then again, still, like, it wasn't until I got sober that Lemmy really got behind me. And when he did, then I decided to go into the studio with his son Paul, and then it really became like a legitimate band. All
right. That's a whole nother thing I have to get into. But let me just say this interview, like, I kept getting emails about Butterside, and I was like, and finally, like, I'm like, let me just check out. I check out the latest single, Never Worth It, and I was like, holy fuck, nice. I've been missing the boat. Right. I'm a fucking jackass. Like, what am I doing here? So now I got to go down the rabbit hole of Butterside, and I'm a fucking fan, dude. I am a complete fucking fan. I'm converted.
That's the best.
I don't give a fuck what Butterside means because it fucking kicks ass. So there you go.
You get it, dude. You get it.
I get it. I get it now.
You are now on the Butterside. See, doesn't it feel good? Feels good.
It does. It does. Yeah, now how? Go ahead.
I mean, that's the idea. I love that the the content is getting to you, because that's the whole idea. We set out about end of summer last year. I mean, we actually started a lot earlier than that. About December of 2020, we went into the studio with Matt Good, and we just finally started working with kind of like the the dream team that I've always wanted to work with as far as the business side of everything goes. And they
Okay.
started coaching us and pushing us in a certain direction. And I really started, taking advice, which was kind of like holding me back forever. I was like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I didn't listen to anybody. And finally I was like, fuck it, I'm not getting where I want to go. Why don't I ask the people that I really look up to and are kicking ass, making millions doing rock and roll, and see if I
Right.
can't get these people on my team. So I made a few adjustments. Sam helped me. We got the band exactly how we wanted it. And then we set out in 2020, end of 2020, to record with Matt Good and kind of really soup up the sound of the music and really, really just go like give it everything. Like, I mean, I thought I was giving 110% before, but working with this guy, we really stepped up and produced some amazing songs. We've gone back since then again, and we've recorded 4 more songs, which is 8 songs, which will go towards an album about end of summer we're going to drop. But that's the idea, is to keep smacking you in the face like we've been doing with you, and
Mhm.
eventually somebody might either get so sick of it that they're going to have to look, or they're building up to the point where they're finally like, okay, I really like this group, if they are checking us out. But um, that's exactly what we're up to. I'm just so glad that it's getting to people.
You can definitely like going back like to the early stuff to the last 2 years. I was definitely like, all right, the early stuff was like it's okay, but the last 2 years, that's the stuff that really kicked me in the ass. Like I was really really digging.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that I'm with now really, they make me step up to the plate a lot stronger than I'd ever imagined I could be. It's great to have guys that really make you bring your A game to every single syllable. So I'm grateful for that and for them. And of course, I was playing guitar and writing all the songs before this lineup, and now it's like I won't even touch an instrument. It's like I can't even
Wow.
hold a candle to how great you guys are. So I just, it's so great to let the guitar player write the guitar parts, and let the bass player write the bass parts, and let the drummer write his parts, and I just concentrate on being authentic and honest, and
That's awesome.
as vocally, awesome as I possibly can be.
I mean, that takes a load off of you too, and that it's not just all you. There's actually like it's a group now. It's a
Yeah,
group effort.
yeah, and it just enables me to like kind of really hone in on my craft, which I've always felt like above all I was just a front man. I think that's, I don't, if I have an instrument in my hand, I feel like I'm being held back from playing the audience. That's what I love to play the most
Right.
to people. So yeah, it's perfect. It really is perfect. I couldn't be happier.
That's cool. Now, explain to me how, because you said something, and I really got to get on this. Uh, you getting sober is what helped Lemmy focus on you and get you signed. Like somehow it don't work. I'm a little confused. So explain that to me. I mean, you must have been really fucked up if that was the situation.
You just said it right there. I mean, I don't think I even have to answer that question. That's exactly what it was, man. I was the guy that would come over and sit on your couch and like, oh my God, you couldn't figure out how to get rid of me. You couldn't figure out how to shut me up. You couldn't understand what language I was speaking. I had holes all over my arms. I was a complete
Oh man,
junkie. I was disappearing to the bathroom for hours at a time. I wouldn't sleep for days. I was a freaking mess, and it's only by the grace of God that I got saved from that. And once I did, I came back, and I played around with acting for a little while, and that was pretty great. But eventually my heart caught back up to me and was just like, man, do your music. But before I'd gotten sober, yeah, I was part of that road crew. And I mean, you didn't eat, your meals were, you know,
yeah, yeah,
you,
exactly.
you just, it was chemical, it was the chemical diet. And there's
Wow.
nothing wrong with that. I mean, Lemmy was the kind of guy that could do whatever, whenever, all the time. And he didn't lose a memory. He didn't lose
Hmm.
any intelligence. He didn't lose any passion or integrity. He never acted like an idiot. And I was just,
Right.
I'm wired differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to be Jim Morrison, and I would have died just like he did. But something stepped in and saved me.
That's amazing.
So yeah, when he saw the progress, we still remain friends, and he actually kicked down some doors for me. He called Slash and Matt Sorum and stuff, and got me in with Velvet Revolver for a little bit, and it almost looked like that was going to pan out.
Wow.
But yeah, then I got with like Steven Adler and his group, and Steven
Hmm.
would decide to do this or decide to do that, and that would basically dictate what my life was. And if I was sitting around for a few months at home waiting for the next tour, or trying to figure out what was going to happen next, if this was my full-fledged career or not, got me a little frustrated. And my my friends Lemmy and Todd Singerman too was very instrumental in like saying, "Hey man, you've got great music. Whenever you're freaking ready, let's go. Let's do it." And it was just like, what
Wow.
am I waiting for? I finally woke up one day and it was literally like a light went off. I was just like, why aren't I doing this? Like, I believe in myself. I love
Hmm.
my all of my story. I feel like I was put here for that reason. I have so much pain and experience, and a spiritual journey to talk about, that it's like I really think that I could reach a lot of people if I just had the chance, and practice your singing and make it sound good, and work with a producer like Paul, Lemmy's son. It's just he's like one of the, I felt like I was working with one of the Beatles. Every day I'd
Wow.
go see him. He's just, every little aspect of music he knows everything about. It's just beautiful to work with somebody like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was there ever any? Did Lemmy ever give you like something, a piece of advice, whether in life or music, that really to this day just still, like you can hear him saying it to you?
There's so many things. I remember one day on the tour bus, just standing face to face, he just said, you belong on the stage, not behind it. You know, um, can't really tell you if there was like an actual phrase. I remember one time we were backstage at Jimmy Kimmel, and like red jacket, red jumpsuit apparatus was the guest that night, right? And we were working on getting Lemmy and Motorhead on to Jimmy Kimmel, but we were there to meet with the producer Jill, and we were playing pool in the green room, and that band was on the monitor, and I have I try to control this more often than not now, but like sometimes how like you'll diss somebody to get a laugh or
Yeah.
whatever. But and funniest of all things is of me of all people to make fun of somebody's name. I was like, red jumpsuit apparatus. And I remember Lemmy just stopping. And he's all laughs and giggles and jokes, and I mean it's just, but that's how quick he was, and how connected to his heart his mind was. But he was just like, he looked me dead in the eyes and he was just like, they're doing it. Like, okay, who gives a fuck what they've done or who they are or what they sound like? They're on Jimmy Kimmel, so they have something very special.
Exactly.
So that kind of fed me as well. It's just like, man, I've got something special too. Like, if they can do it, these kids can do it, I can do it. um, Driving around in the car with him, listening to the radio, and after every song, he wouldn't wait for the next song to start. He would literally start thumbing through the channels. We'd go from the gospel channel to the R&B channel to the rock and roll channel to the, all of the radio stations he would bounce from, and we'd find something good on each channel, and then he would stick with it. And that's
Wow.
kind of where that kind of led Butterside to having its genre, like multi-genre debut record. It seems like we couldn't really find out what we were aiming at with that record, but it's beautiful all the same.
Right.
Every color of the rainbow is on that freaking record. But fast forward to today, it's a much more precise vision.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems it's much more precise, and something that is very precise that I truly freaking love about the band, because I think so many bands either are missing the boat completely by not doing this, or they are doing it and again they don't get it, um, and that's making videos and going through all of your freaking videos, man. Like I was just like, it's so refreshing to see either some goofy, crazy off the wall thing, like the Scooby Doo type video, or like the Dark Circus tent, or the new video that's got the horror kind of vampire thing going on. You got
Yeah.
like all this crazy stuff, But and the biggest one, Too Far. I mean, that deep story. I mean, you got all these deep things going on, fun things, scary things,
Yeah.
and still able to get the band in there where it's not like, oh, here's the band in an empty warehouse. There's some water on the floor, and let's play.
Right.
There's 18 million videos of that same freaking scenario. You
Right.
guys, not only is the song kick ass, but you want to watch the video. You
Right.
want to stay tuned. You don't want to flip the dial. You don't
Awesome.
want to hit skip. Like you guys get it.
Uh,
Like, so are you involved in the process of putting these together? The ideas? Is it your mind doing this stuff?
110%. Yeah.
And that's
Uh,
sober doing this.
yeah. 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 No, it's become a huge passion of mine. Everybody's kind of trying to convince me to like kind of maybe starting a company because like I don't know. I have a system now that's like it's pretty freaking cool. Um, there's just no guessing involved. I literally will like, I'll literally, go into an app and I'll create like a script, but it's, the words pop up on screen as to what I see in my head. And
Okay.
then I put that on the screen and it just tells the story, along, and then the song's playing in the background. So
Hmm.
it's like, I feel like I'm just kind of fed this, this creativity and I just run with it. But, I often say to myself, like, if you're going to watch all of our videos in a row, and hopefully soon there'll be like 2 to 3 hours worth of them, right? If I have anything to do with it. But like, if you go to a James Bond movie, the thing I love the most is like, it starts out in the freaking Swiss Alps, the next minute you're freaking in Shanghai, then you're like in the desert, and then you're in like, then you're on the ocean, so that's kind of like the feeling I want you to get when you go from each video. I think it's important that they're all different so that
Hmm.
the audience can connect on it's really just to connect you deeper to the song, and it doesn't always have to be completely like, it doesn't have to connect to exactly what the message of the song was or the story behind the song, because sometimes that's a little bit too ugly. um,
Right.
but we were really scared with the Too Far video. It was like I wanted to say so much. There's so much in it that it directly reflects from my experiences, my sister's suicide and all of that stuff. It's in there.
Wow.
And it was like, I went to sleep the night it came out. I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, like I went to sleep scared that like the world was going to shut it down and say we're so insensitive and everything like that. I mean, there's part of me that was
Mm.
like that, but when creating the story, it was like, we didn't want to put a lot of blood and guts and make it really, it wasn't
Right.
grotesque. It's not for shock value. It's really to kind of make you think. People out there every single day. I meet them every day, and Hollywood people are so fragile, including myself. You say one wrong thing, and that person might spiral out of control. They might do the wrong drug. They might do too much of the
Right.
wrong drug, and you wake up the next day and they're gone. So, those those images were just fed into my head, and before I know it, I somehow managed to cram this whole story into like 3 minutes and 15 seconds worth of music.
Wow.
And I felt like, well, there it is. The universe is saying yes, so let's put it out. But I remember waking up that next morning, and there was literally there's two messages from people. One of them was in my contacts, and I don't even remember how we'd become friends. We must have been out on tour or something somewhere. But I woke up to this beautiful text message. I mean, it's a horrifying text message at the same time, but it did exactly what I hoped that it would, and that was let people know that that they're not alone.
Hmm.
That a lot of people are struggling like you are, including some of our most famous, most cherished celebrities, Robin Williams and Chester and Kurt and Chris and, all
Yeah.
of these people. You're not alone, and it's important. As soon as you know that, then there's somebody to talk to. And then, maybe somewhere along that conversation, something makes you smile, something makes you laugh, something makes you make a plan to get together the next day. And all of a sudden, suicide maybe possibly goes out the window. You're not thinking about
Hmm.
that anymore, and you're alive still.
Right.
And sometimes it's that easy. I mean, I remember, contemplating those things myself, and just like what actually got me through, like a puppy dog, can be that thing.
Hmm.
But I woke up that next morning, and there was a message from this woman, and her son had committed suicide literally like a month beforehand. It was November,
Wow.
end of early December, and her son had committed suicide end of October. And she, you know, at first I started reading the message and I had all this fear that like this was going to be that one that said, "How dare you, fuck you." But instead it was thanking us for putting out something so profound, and that it really struck
Wow.
a chord with her and let her know she's not alone. And now she's reaching out. We talk often now, and it's just like it's something that we share. I have my picture of my sister right here in front of me. You know, it
Wow.
sits here when I do my interviews, like she's looking over me. So those things I'm going on, but that's a
That's
beautiful.
all right.
Yeah, it's a you know it's that's I love that that's something that we can talk about. But the
That's
other
but
videos we've gone to Japan simply because the title Zen, you know, reflected that where do you find Zen? And it was like Japan, statues, you know, all of these things. It's like, let's fucking go to Japan and shoot a video. And are you nuts? But it came out sick. Like that video is so sick. And the experience of going there and filming it was kind of part of the experience to me. You know what I mean? It's not really all about like what it does for our audience, but also the experience ourselves that we have, you know. You know,
freaking
we went to Lake Tahoe to film the Voices video, and that
okay.
video we went there because of the snow, and that's where I spent a lot of my time with my father. And my father passed from COVID while we were recording these songs in
Oh
2020.
wow.
Uh,
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, but COVID took him, so we didn't really make it a thing about it. But those demons, those smoky ghosts that are flying around in that video, that's what those represent is COVID. And at the end, they all kind of catch this spirit that's on top of the mountain, and then that's my father going off into heaven, and then
Wow.
the you know those demons are still here. One comes at you at the end. You know what I mean? They're still coming after us. But we went up to Tahoe to capture that feeling, you know, and that's the thing I do when I'm doing videos. That's there's kind of a spirit that's in it. You know what I mean? And obviously you're feeling that, and that's what I'm really trying to do with the music videos. Is it's not just you know some guys that are cool to look at, or we have this, you know,
Right.
it's there's a story, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we really caught the essence of Lake Tahoe that day, and his spirit was there with us. It was like middle of or end of March, and it's like the snow hadn't fallen in forever. We had to find like an area that still really had some snow in it because I wanted to film it in the snow. So when we
Mm.
come over the mountain with my father in a van for Christmases from San Francisco over to the Tahoe, that was that moment. We all wanted to be awake in the front seat with my father when we saw the snow for the first time. We're like, "Oh, we're up in Lake Tahoe! What?" Eventually, he moved up there because he thought it was the most beautiful place on earth. So us being there, we should have had like no snow around. But it's funny. A guy from high school, an old high school buddy, was like, "I got you covered, man." I was like, "Do you have any a little patch of snow on the side of the road that we might be able to get away with shooting a video at?" And he was like, "I'm gonna drop a pin. Just meet me here." You know. So the band drives all the way from LA up to Lake Tahoe. We meet this guy at this pin he dropped, and there he is with the North Star ski team and medic team with like 3 snowmobiles and like 4 bobcats to take us up into the mountain to the very snow covered part of the hill. And we found that
Wow.
perfect spot that looks like a stage. And then literally we start filming, and out of nowhere, it was like the only day that month since like January that it snowed, and like the snow is coming down. It was just like, okay, you know, there's these little bursts
Meant
of
to be.
that those are the kind of things that tell me, like nobody can tell me I'm not supposed to be doing this. I have kind
Right.
of like those things that kind of they stick to your heart, you know, make you feel like you're doing the right thing with your life.
See, that's so amazing. Like, you hear so much, naturally, like how deep and personal these songs are when you're writing them, and I mean, you're taking it a step further and putting this stuff into these videos that people probably don't even realize
They
until they hear
don't,
these
right?
stories. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a funny. It's just like it's special to me, you know. And I think that you know, there's a saying, you know, if you don't love yourself, how can anybody else love you? So it's like I kind of feel like if I love what I'm doing and I love what I've created, other people are going to have to love it. You know,
Mhm.
it's just like finding the right people to share it with the right people. You know, it got to you, and again, just so grateful that like so much blood, sweat, and tears has maybe it's starting to pay off. You know,
Yeah.
and not even in a financial or you know, it's not like that kind of a gain. It's a
Hmm.
kind of like my purpose. You know, that's more fulfilling to me than anything else, is to know that I'm
Right.
reaching people and they understand, you know, what I'm trying to say.
Now, you guys, for the last four, you guys just put out an EP called "Never Worth It" for after the last single and video. And it seems like you guys are pretty much doing like the whole, I guess, new method of the music business: single a month, single a month, single a month, and then boom, here's an EP or here's a full length.
Right.
Um, are you going to keep that process going? Because I know you mentioned that you're going to be putting out something
Yeah.
else coming soon.
Yeah, that's the plan. We don't go into like really record a bunch of stuff. It's like we go into like really create hits, you know. We go into really create the most powerful songs we can, and it's grueling. It's a grueling process, but it's so rewarding, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I think that every song that we've recorded deserves its day in the spotlight. So that's why we're doing it this way. That, and it is. It seems like it's that's what all the successful groups are doing now. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you just keep, again, blasting people with great content, and the fakers are going to fall off the train. You know,
Right.
but you know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, how about live shows, tours? What's I know this whole COVID world. Nobody knows what the hell's going on one day to another.
Yeah. So many groups are getting out there and doing it, and I'm super jealous. We have decided that like we are basically going to keep doing what we're doing as far as creating the content and getting it out there. We've got like such a great radio response. You know, they're playing us all over the country now. We're number one in a few cities, bigger cities like Chicago, and we just it just seems like it's starting to work. The right people are working the
Hmm.
songs and helping us to try to get where we really want to go. And it's those statistics that really will kind of back up us getting on a tour that we really want to be on, instead of going out and beating our heads against the wall, touring with a band that like we don't really belong with, or
Right.
to an audience that like isn't really going to benefit us in the long run. Uh,
Right.
it's great to go out and play shows even for tons of people, but it's like, again, like the precise kind of direction and like a really really solid plan is what we've set out on. And I think it's all about these numbers getting up a lot higher. And once we have that as our kind of like our muscle, then we're
Hmm.
going to kind of strike. And once we strike, I think we're never going to come home. That's the whole idea. We want to probably end of summer. I think we're going to try to really start to nail a bigger tour with a bigger band that will get us out in front of tons of people that are really like synced up to like what kind of style we are. So it's exciting. Yeah, all my work is cut out for us. So the next few months, we're still going to just be pumping out new material that we've recorded with Matt. Just creating these videos as we go. We do have one show coming up here, probably our last show in Los Angeles for a little while. So if you're in LA, you know, it's the one to catch. It's going to blow the roof off of that place, the Viper Room, on March 19th. So yeah.
I mean, that's pretty wild because I mean that's where people need to like realize it's a science, and that's what you're really putting the whole thought and the science into the whole thing instead of like you're saying, we can just go jump on a tour, but is it really at the end of the day going to be beneficial to us? Are we going to be hooked up with the right band? Is it going to work?
Yeah. Well, it's just like with material that's this good. If we took time off to tour right now, we wouldn't. Well, yeah, it'd be hard to kind of like keep doing what we're doing.
Right.
In the same sense, it's just like all of that. There's so much money goes into touring, and we do have an agent
Mhm.
that's cracking us a lot of cash for shows now. But it's like, again, it's like if we're headlining somewhere in like the Midwest, nobody really. I mean, right now it would actually be a different story than the last time we went out. When we went out for Rocklahoma, we did a few shows that were, they beat you down a little bit morally, because we need to be with another group that's successful. That's how it
Yeah.
really works. Every band I've ever admired or like watched become successful, like the Butcher Babies, it was like they just
Right.
kept hammering it. Carla and Heidi, they're great friends of mine. I just watched that whole thing get, the seed get planted and the whole thing
Hmm.
bloom right in front of my very eyes. And it was like, wow. But it was like when they got that tour with Manson, it was like, wait a minute, you just got a tour with Marilyn Manson? Like
Right.
that's huge.
Yeah.
And before that, what did they, I don't remember what tour they were on or what they're doing. They were playing a lot in LA, but it's like, that's what we want. We want that we're going out with this band. Like, you know, our friends in Classics Act, they're going out with Motley Crue, for crying out loud, you know. And just so many of our friends that run around town are just doing these huge things. And it's just like, where did they get to before they got that? We don't want to jump, you know, you don't want to do the wrong thing first. So it's like, we got to do it all in order and be patient.
Right.
Yeah.
That right there, that's the key word, is patience, and that would be driving me nuts because these songs need to be on a stage fucking played.
Yeah, it's pretty infectious, man. When we just did our last LA show, we had 4 of the new songs. You know, we debuted Never Worth It before we released it. It's just sick. You know, it's just you can see, like, the whiskey was pretty full, and you can see those people reacting the way they are. And I just, man, to play that shit in front of like a festival's worth of people, they're gonna go off. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah. Who's the dream tour that you'd want to be on with?
So much respect for Asking Alexandria right now. That would be a dream come true at this very moment. Papa Roach would be insane. Wow, that would be insane.
Yeah.
I have a huge admiration for a band called Don Broco that are just exploding. I don't know if we're the same style, but I just love that group so much. They're so unique. I don't know if you've heard of them, but
I got to check them out now. I got to write that down.
Yeah,
Don Broco.
Yeah, it's they're so.
What the fuck is a Don Broco?
They've changed their names a few times, but man, I go to their shows and like I end up like just locked onto the front, you know, gate. You know, I make my way all the way to the front, and this isn't a conscious kind of decision. It's because like I hate to be pushed around, and like I don't necessarily love being in the pit, you know what I mean? But it's like when this music starts, if I'm in the back of the club, it just happens. There's like a magnet is pulling me up there, tear off my shirt, and I start swinging it, and I'm just like lost in fandom over that group. Same with Bring Me the Horizon. We did Bring Me the Horizon, played at the Whiskey, and like I started in the back of the club, and like the music starts, I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love this music, and I'm singing along, and like before I know it, I'm in the front row. Literally, like Youngblood and Ollie both jumped into the crowd, and they landed in my arms, and there's this video of me like singing with them. Total fan experience, and it's just like that's what I want people to get from us. So there's another group right there. Bring Me the Horizon would be the gem, I think, for us. I think their crowd would really be open to our style. Asking Alexandria too. They worked with the same producer. Gemini Syndrome, love that group. They just broke hard, #1, so great. Any of those groups, you know, and there's so many more to pick from. By the time end of summer comes around, you know, a lot of these groups that are in the mid-level will be at the headlining level, you know, and it just keeps moving up, you know. So it's like they keep making room for newer groups, and I'm just excited. You know, we're working with the right people. I know we're going to get our chance to get out there and be with those guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think so too, and I love that it's a plan and a science. I love it.
Yeah.
So all right, so what's the next video? Is there another video single coming out soon then, or?
Yes, Sam Bam Colton plays with a phenomenal female front woman, Dorothy. He's with her as well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He was just also out with, I mean, the kid is in demand. He's just the best guitar player on the planet. So you have to let him spread his wings, you know. He just got back from a thing with Faster Pussycat, and now he's going to go out with Dorothy. So we're kind of crammed into this situation. Logan's out with Diamante at the moment. So all of our guys are just constantly slaying. Like there's no downtime. And, you know, while they're doing their thing, doing that, I concentrate on what we're creating next. But so we're going to film 2. We're filming 2 before I think the end of March. So there's a couple more that nobody's heard yet. Nice. And I've already got my crazy ideas. Like there's one I can tell you that is the boldest idea going forward towards video that possibly anybody's ever taken on. I've seen some pretty crazy videos, and I think if it's done right, this one's going to just blow your mind.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't even want to tell you what it is, but
That's enough. That's all. That's enough. That's all you got to say.
yeah, it's funny. Like we talk about our ideas, you know, maybe we'll be at the Rainbow, we'll be out, and we talk about these ideas, or I share it with one person and share it with another, and then before you know it, you see some other band with the exact same idea come out with a video, and you're just like, oh my god, you
Yeah.
really have to keep all that stuff to yourselves. But
Absolutely.
yeah, you know, the heavens have allowed me to kind of have a vision that's completely unique from all the ones that we've done before for these two as well. So I'm
That's
super
awesome.
excited to create those in the next month.
Well, when that comes out, you got to come back so we can talk more.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been freaking awesome. Where's the best place to go? Is it butterside.com or
Yeah, our Instagram's kind of like the base for like all
mm-hmm.
of the info. That's kind of where, because it goes to everything. You know, if I put something on Instagram, it will copy to Facebook, and then it also copies to the website. So if you follow us on Instagram, I think that's your best bet to keep up with everything that we're doing all the time. And there's a little link tree in the bio, and you tap on that, and everything from our new merch to our new videos, everything that we're doing, shows, they're all right there. So I think Instagram's a really great platform to find us
Awesome.
on. And if you spell it right, you can't miss us.
Oh, dude. Again, seriously, you've converted me. I get it now. Thank you. And I can't wait to hear more.
Bay, thank you so much for opening your heart to us and finally reading that email and getting on the butter side, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All
Now
right.
everybody else needs to do it.
Yeah.
Don't
Do
be a
it.
jackass like me. I've made many mistakes, and this is one of them.
You're the best, man. Thank you.
You too, man. Take care, dude.
All right.